AI is real, and it is going to change every industry.
My prediction is that work will be optional.
It will be smarter than most or all humans.
We're starting to see early glimpses of self-improvement.
The AI is going to be in charge, not humans.
I think AI will probably lead to the end of the world.
My name is Randall Christopher Niles. I've been immersed in the world of technology for nearly 35 years. As a business attorney, I represented software, search, video game, and interactive media companies. And in the year 2000, I became a Christian and dedicated my life to help hurting people and spread the gospel on the internet. Our ministries view search engines and social media platforms as global mission fields, where we've positioned thousands of web pages in over 200 languages. In the last 25 years, God has blessed us with over 480 million gospel presentations and 5.5 million decisions for Jesus. In November of 2022, ChatGPT was released to the public. Within 2 months, there were 100 million users, faster growth than Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Like many, this was my first introduction to practical AI. I viewed it as a major advance in consumer technology, and it became a great new tool in our ministries for coding, translations, workflow, and even media creation. But I soon discovered something deeper. Because AI is replacing the use of search engines, AI was replacing the ability for people to find our ministry websites on the internet. Like everyone else, our content was being absorbed by the large language models, and our engagement with actual people was being hijacked by a single answer in a chatbot. As I dug in, I discovered we're all being opted into something much bigger than chatbots. A multi-trillion-dollar intelligence explosion, an arms race with ultra-rich elites fighting to win at all costs. And the prize? Controlling the future of global politics and medicine, economics, business, warfare, and intelligence itself. While these tech leaders are good at pitching a new vision for our world, miracle cures, material abundance, and extended lifespans, none of them seem willing to answer bigger questions, such as, what will AI do to us humans? What will it do to our work, our children, our faith, and our relationships? How will this change our perception of reality? Will we lose our meaning, purpose, and calling in life? I have to say that the more I've thought about it, the more I'm blown away by the sheer scope of it all. So I made this video to help Christians understand what's really coming with AI and the transhumanist movement that's connected with it.
I think AI and superintelligence are going to be the most important technologies in our lifetime.
I think about like where we are today. We're at the beginning of an immense intelligence explosion. We're in the intelligence Big Bang.
We're starting to see early glimpses of self-improvement with the models, which means that developing superintelligence is now in sight.
AI is real, and it is going to change every industry.
I believe it will reach that level, that it will be smarter than most or all humans in most or all ways.
I think it takes like unique human arrogance to believe that AI cannot supersede humans.
With respect to academic questions, Grok 4 is better than PhD level in every subject, no exceptions. It's somewhat unnerving to have intelligence created that is far greater than our own.
How much are you spending, would you say, over the next few years?
$600 billion through 28.
What about Microsoft?
In the United States, around $75 to $80 billion.
We're building multiple multi-gigawatt data centers. The size of the site covers a significant portion of the footprint of Manhattan in terms of space. The thing is just massive.
The data centers are actually under construction in Texas. Each building's 500,000 square feet. There are 10 buildings currently being built, but that will expand to 20.
I think this will be the most important project of this era.
And the scale of this project, like I do guess that a lot of the world gets covered in data centers over time.
We're going to start building these giant gigawatt data centers in space.
It's not a bubble. If anything, it's underhyped because you're fundamentally automating businesses.
This wave is happening much, much faster then you understand, that I understand, that governments understand, our systems are not ready for this.
It's the first technology that has no limit. So it's happening very fast and it's unlimited.
One of the things that annoys me most about people who work on AI is when they stand up and with a straight face say, oh, this will never cause any job elimination. This is going to eliminate a lot of current jobs.
I think that we're going to have a human-level performance on most, if not all, professional tasks. So white-collar work where you're sitting down at a computer, most of those tasks will be fully automated by an AI within the next 12 to 18 months.
If you go out long enough, assuming there's a continued improvement in AI and robotics, which this seems likely, my prediction is that work will be optional.
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 What is about to happen is that 60 to 70% of the jobs that you know are going to disappear. So what does that mean? It means that all of us will have to find a way to survive, probably through some kind of a scheme, basically that pays everyone to live.
And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
How confident are you that AI's promise will outweigh the perils?
I'm not confident, but that's what we need to get oriented around. It's definitely got to be shaped.
You ought to be worried. Everybody ought to be worried. Is it possible that we get through this and we are better off in the end? Barely, I would say.
If I could, I would certainly slow down AI, but I can't. It's advancing at a very rapid pace, whether I like it or not. Will this be bad or good for humanity? I think it'll be good. Most likely it'll be good. But I somewhat reconciled myself to, even if it wasn't going to be good, I'd at least like to be alive to see it happen.
You know, I think AI will probably lead to the end of the world, but in the meantime, there will be great companies created with serious machine learning.
If artificial intelligence vastly exceeds the sum of human intelligence, the AI is going to be in charge, to be totally frank, not humans. We just need to make sure the AI is friendly.
Okay, let's run through what the builders of AI just told us. It's an intelligence big bang, a new beginning. It's going to change every industry with an intelligence far greater than our own. And to pull this off, they'll spend trillions of dollars, and much of the world will be covered in data centers. It's the first technology that has no limit. We're caught in a wave happening much faster than anyone understands, and our systems are not ready for this. AI will eliminate many current jobs, with most white-collar work being fully automated by AI within 12 to 18 months. In fact, work will be optional, however that works. So we'll need a scheme that pays everyone to live, some kind of universal basic income. And in the end, we don't know if this will be good or bad for humanity. AI will be in charge, not humans, and possibly it will lead to the end of the world. There you go, AI in their own words. Next up, I wanted to hear from some thoughtful people, philosophers, economists, and safety experts, to see how they're responding to all of this.
I am very concerned about the current state of safety and security in terms of advanced AI systems. The first system to become general and capable of recursive self-improvement is also likely to be the first one to become super intelligent and prevent other competing models from getting to that stage for self-preservation reasons, for competitive reasons. For many years, I researched just how we can make those machines safe for human use and beneficial. And my research led me to believe it's impossible to do. You cannot indefinitely control something so much smarter than you. There is a lot to worry about with this technology. Some things are immediate and easy to understand. When it comes to technological unemployment, the only number I can justify is almost 100%. Because if you are creating a system capable of doing anything a human can do intellectually, and eventually through robot bodies and other means, any physical labor, then no job is safe. What do we do with billions of people who have 40, 60, 80 hours of extra free time on their hands? Nobody knows.
The impact that AI and robotics will have will be amazingly important. It will wipe out entire sectors of jobs, and most importantly, it will do it fairly quickly. So I think it's going to have a huge economic impact. People are talking about 50% or maybe more in terms of job loss. That has huge impacts economically, but it's more than money because people get a lot of value out of work besides money. They get satisfaction, a sense of accomplishment, the fun of doing things, relationships. None of those can be replaced by simply giving people money.
So Elon likes to talk about universal basic income. This is a perfect path to catastrophe for the human spirit. The point of work is only incidentally to pay the bills. Yes, it's good, but the real point of work is to be valuable to others, to do something, to better yourself. Just sending people money does not achieve any of that. It's degrading.
Well, you know, the experts in AI talk about the way it's growing, say from narrow AI up to the levels of superintelligence. There are many consequences of what I call the outsourcing of humanity. And some of the very obvious ones are like the huge increase in loneliness. Another one is the massive disruption of work. And a third is the super concentration of wealth. All of these are going to have massive social consequences.
Screen time is already a battle in every home, and the influence of AI is going to make that exponentially worse. These companies are preying on our kids' developmental vulnerabilities. They're monetizing and taking advantage of the way that children are wired.
Historically, we used to believing in certain types of evidence, writings, pictures, videos. With development of technology, we started being more skeptical. That picture of a UFO, maybe it was photoshopped. This will get to extreme where nothing you see on the internet can be authenticated or believed.
And as we get virtual reality systems and those kind of things that are driven by AI, they have an assault on reality. So what's real and what isn't real? And is it important what's real? Is it important what's true?
Now we're left to trust AI and the technocrats and the big businesses that are building all the data centers.
Unfortunately, parents are outsourcing a lot of things to technology for the sake of convenience, or they think this is just the world we live in. And we would love to call parents back to more of an analog mindset.
For me, the ground level problem is the destruction of the difference between truth and falseness. Without truth, we're lost.
AI insiders typically focus on productivity and abundance. But if work becomes optional, what happens to purpose? If we hand people money and call it universal basic income, won't that create a crisis of meaning in our families and churches? How are the AI builders themselves thinking about the true impact on humanity?
I think an even more meaningful impact in our lives is going to come from everyone having a personal superintelligence that helps you achieve your goals, create what you want to see in the world, be a better friend, and grow to become the person that you aspire to be.
But what happens when your child's best friend is non-human? Those of you who have kids, you have a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, how do you feel about that? It's coming, and coming very quickly.
Because I mean, right now we have our phones, but we're like, you know, it's like it takes you away from like the physical environment around you. Our computing platform, as it becomes more of like a glasses or eventually contact lens form factor, is you're gonna actually, the internet is gonna get overlaid on the physical world.
We've essentially tried to monetize all of your waking hours with something, some form of ad, some form of entertainment, some form of subscription. That is completely antithetical to the way humans traditionally work with respect to long, thoughtful examination of principles, the time that it takes to be a good human being.
I think that you guys don't know what's going on in education right now. The kids have no ability to be bored whatsoever. They live on their phones and they're just fed a constant stream of dopamine from the minute their eyes wake up in the morning until they go to sleep at night.
Ask a child to handwrite something, even just a paragraph, 5 sentences, and they want to say, why can't we just type it? Why can't we just type it? Well, it's because you'll go on another website, or you'll copy it, or use AI, you'll use ChatGPT.
We're going to go insane, literally insane, trying to figure out what's true, who knows anything, right? Literal insanity is going to emerge from that.
Our AI Grok is modeled after The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is one of my favorite books. I would say that forms the basis of my philosophy, which is that we don't know the meaning of life, but the more we can expand the scope and scale of consciousness, the more we're able to understand what questions to ask about the answer that is the universe.
If humans in this future want to remain economically relevant, they're going to have to merge with the machines. And the machines, I think, if they're 1,000 times more productive than we are in a prime position to tell humans and to help humans merge with the machines.
We advance the Neuralink devices, you should be able to actually have full body control and sensors from an Optimus robot. So you could basically inhabit an Optimus robot. It's not just the hand. Future's gonna be weird.
AI will have the power of God. You have one device that creates everything, borrows molecules, redefines the way they are operating together, puts them back together, which is in an interesting way similar to the way creation is.
The sort of like the threshold for how real does it have to be to consider to be real will just keep moving.
Again, listen to what the tech leaders are telling us. They say the impact on humanity starts with everyone having a personal superintelligence, where the internet's going to get overlaid on the physical world, and even our child's best friend will be non-human. If humans want to remain relevant, they're going to need to merge with the machines, just as those running the machines seek to monetize every hour of our lives. And what's one of the foundational worldviews behind all of this? The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And when it comes to truth, they say the threshold for how real something needs to be considered real will just keep moving. Indeed, the future's gonna be weird, as Elon says. These key players are saying it plainly. It's not only about winning the AI race, it's about humans merging with machines, manipulating reality, and becoming like gods. That might sound extreme, but it actually reflects the scale of what's being attempted.
Well, you know, the experts tell us that AI is the most powerful, the most inscrutable, and the most incalculable machine that humans have ever made. And so with AI, humans have a genuine shot at thinking they can really be like God.
So there'll be many ways that things are impacting economically, control, truth, ultimately all the way to what is a human, how do human relationships work, and what makes people valuable.
You know, I think these titans of technology think of the whole of society as an engineering problem. But the people are not volitional. They don't have dreams. When people exercise their will, they're just introducing chaos. We should mechanize everything. I just don't think it's going to work. Society is not an engineering problem. And that's good. I mean, human beings, it seems crazy to have to say it, but human beings bring something really valuable to society. Why should we have to point that out? But it's true. I think these guys have forgotten this.
We do have generations coming up who have been deeply impacted by the negative effects of addictive technology. And the hope is that they will use what they have learned through those negative experiences to get back to humanity. Fill your home with things AI cannot take from you and cannot replicate. Human connection, God's peace, and wisdom.
In many ways, religious people are best prepared for understanding this message, this idea of superintelligent power versus human weakness. You believe there is superintelligence in the universe. You believe it's all-knowing, all-powerful, all-capable. This is what is about to happen. In relative terms, what we are creating is going to be godlike in comparison to human capabilities. So our attempts to decide what's going to happen to us will be worthless. The best thing we can do is not create an alternative to God.
Now, it's so ultimate and apocalyptic the way they describe it that a lot of Christians react, I think, with fear. And Christians should not be panicking or alarmist, but really showing with a calm confidence in the Lord, we're going forward even with AI and its challenges, so that we are people with discernment and we're not sucked into the ways of the world. We are always countercultural.
Big changes are coming, and very soon. This is a civilizational transformation, so profound that it could reshape what it means to be human. So what do? Christians, we aren't called to panic or withdraw, but we are called to be countercultural. We always have been, but maybe now it's more important than ever. In a time of tsunami-like change, we need to re-anchor in Christ and His Word. We need to remind each other that we have a different foundation. It's based on truth, calling, faith, family, freedom, and hope. Even if the grand future is shaped by powerful AI systems, we still control the ordinary places, at our kitchen tables, in the backyards, churches, the quiet moments where human formation still happens face to face. I encourage you to take this moment seriously and pay attention to what's happening. With the rise of the machines, let's be a strong voice for the future. Let's protect our families from the potential harms of artificial intelligence and raise them up in God's truth so they understand what it means to be fully human.